About Einstein. We are good.
What was Einstein like when he was really little?
Well, he didn't speak until 2.5, and he spoke really slowly and softly. And then, when he was 6, he got a violin, but it didn't go that well from the start because he got mad and threw a tantrum in a chair at his violin teacher. But it was all good after that. He continued playing violin throughout his life.
And what was his family like?
His dad, Herman, was a businessman, but he was very optimistic. His business had some ups and downs. Anyway, his dad brought him home a lot of inventions like a toy compass. And then his mom, Pauline, was very stubborn, which ended up being a good trait, helped Einstein form his own mindset. They were non-practicing Jews, and he had a sister.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, his sister was named Maria, but they called her Maya, spelled with a J. After they moved to Munich, and Munich was interesting because they shared a yard, and the yard had chickens and pigeons, and so Einstein played with the chickens and pigeons.
So early on, what was Einstein into? Like, what was he like?
He wasn't into gym class. He was more into math. Surprise, surprise. Anyway, he stacked card towers, really tall ones, and that was pretty impressive, like up to, I think, 12 stories.
But did he study outside of school?
Yeah, he had this, student Talmud that his family invited to dinner, like once a week, and when he came to dinner, he brought philosophy and math and science books, and Einstein was really into these books. And then his father had another business venture and moved to Italy. His family left, and he didn't really like his school because they were kind of bossy.
Yeah.
And so he left for Italy.
But what did he do when he went to Italy?
He worked at his dad's factory, and then he applied to what was called Poly at the time, and he didn't pass the test, the entrance exam, because he failed French, botany, literature, and chemistry. He did pass the math and physics, but anyway, too bad.
Yeah, tough. Did he still go to school?
Yes, he went to the Swiss Cantonal School of Aargau.
That's a lot to say.
It was here where they encouraged independent thinking. It was a much better fit, and he started doing his thought experiments where he imagined riding a beam of light. After that, he was staying with this history professor, and on the weekends they'd go fly kites and they'd identify plants.
That's so fun.
Yeah, and after that he applied back to Poly, and this time he got in.
Oh, yay! Wasn't he a bit young?
Yes, he was 17. You had to be 18 to be in there, but they made an exception. We relocated. We got tired of jumping. Well, she did. Anyway, Grossman lent Einstein his notes, and that's because Einstein spent his time reading, not going to the lectures, which was allowed. Also, he was in love with Maliva, one of the other 5 physics students. They became really close, and then they had a kid named Liesel, who probably got scarlet fever. Not really on the record.
Did Einstein quit violin in college?
He kept going, with an exception. He caused an explosion in his chemistry lab, did something wrong, and hurt his hand. And so that's part of why he chose to stick with theoretical physics. Anyway, he had to take a small break from violin.
Yeah. What did Einstein do after college?
He tutored. He couldn't get a job as a professor. He worked as a math teacher, and he didn't make much money. He was tutoring a philosophy major, Maurice, and Maurice and Conrad and him created this group where they talked about philosophy and science and cool stuff. And they called it the Olympia Academy. And
awesome.
Then Grossman, his note helper from before, the good student, he helped get him an interview with a patent office. Einstein got the lowest job, but it was a job. He was very happy to finally have a job. During this time, he published a paper on capillary action, which has to do with sucking things up. It was wrong, but no one at the time could prove it was wrong, which was important. And it also had the potential, since it was a prestigious journal, to get him into a job placement as a professor. Also at this time at his job at the patent office, he had a lot of time after he finished up his patent work to work on physics. Think about physics.
Did Einstein ever marry?
Yeah, you don't have to be that dramatic. He got married. His dad didn't really approve of Maliva. His mom didn't either, but on his dad's deathbed, his dad was like, you guys can get married. So they got married. To celebrate, you know how we had that Olympia Academy?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he went with Olympia Academy and they had a celebration party, right? And then after the party, Einstein forgot the keys, so they couldn't get back into the room. So that was funny. And then pretty much Einstein and his new baby, Hans Albert, they would go on walks. Einstein would be pushing the stroller, and then he'd be like taking notes, like when he had a physics idea. So all going great.